This is the stuff dreams are made of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal.
And I'm writer-collector Dave Mandel, and you're listening to the original movie prop collecting podcast brought to you by Prop Store. They just had their big auction, and they don't really have anything else for me to tell you about at the moment. But there'll be more coming, but I don't know. They paid for the show. So
because we don't know what happened yet in the auction.
PropStore.com. Yeah, we're kind of doing this one kind of early. Some people were very happy. Some people were very sad. But they've got so much more coming. PropStore.com.
Lots of sales.
I know there's a movie poster auction. So there you go. There's a movie poster auction coming out. Check that out. PropStore.com.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I don't really know, but I'm just kind of guessing that they have.
They
always have those. So yeah, exactly.
There's always something.
Yeah, but I think their next big one will be
London.
London in
MLA London.
MLA London, or MLUK if we MLA UK. MLAUK.
Yeah.
I think these are really catching on, which will be, I believe, early December, I think,
yes.
Right? Does that sound right? And not dated quite yet, but that'll give you
yes.
half an idea as you begin to figure out your spending.
Yes.
How are you, Ryan?
Plenty of time to emergency consign things to pay for the things you bought.
Or the things you want to buy, yeah.
Or the things you want to buy. Yeah, I haven't actually. At this point, usually I've heard some scuttlebutt about London, but I think they're keeping it very under wraps just because of the kind of great September auction.
They're not looking to steal their own thunder.
Yeah. I think so. I did hear one thing, which is it's not for you nor I, but it's insanely cool. Something they turned up.
Very cool. I was going to say, or they've got an even better Star Wars prop in the London one, but they don't want to stop people from bidding on the really incredible one they have in this one. So they're kind of keeping it under the wraps.
I don't really think that's possible. But
no, they have George Lucas is auctioning himself off.
His frozen head.
His left hand holding a pencil. I don't know. But no, I know nothing, so that's fine that we don't know anything about it. And it's very possible by the time you are listening to this, I am completely out of the prop world. That I'm just done. I bought my last prop. I bought the lightsaber. I told Becky about it, and she put a steak knife into my head. And perhaps the London auction will just be my estate sale. So that's possible too. Yeah, we don't know.
She has to wait, Dave. She has to wait until you pay off the bowcaster so that she can actually murder you with that as the crossbow. But she's just biding her time.
Bashes my brain in with it.
No, I think actually load a proper crossbow bolt into it and just fire one, right dead center mass.
I was sort of thinking kind of like a presumed innocent. By the way, the movie and the book, not that insane miniseries where I'm dead. No one's quite sure how I'm dead. Like it's clear something hit me in the head, and then at the very last scene, the handyman takes the bowcaster and he's cleaning it and realizes, oh my God, there's blood on the bowcaster, and realizes that that's what she used to kill me, or some version of that. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
a friend of mine wrote a back in the day when you would write spec scripts for existing TV shows to try to get TV jobs. Now it's mostly you write original pilots or an original feature or whatever. You don't write spec scripts anymore. But he wrote a spec of CSI, and it was in Vegas at this big Star Trek convention, and there was a similar sort of presumed innocent kind of murder, and nobody could figure out the murder weapon, until they finally figure out that it was a batleth. Is the shape of the thing, which
that's excellent.
It's pretty good.
Like
and it was like some Klingon nerd blood feud.
They had to have done some sort of I know they did if my memory serves, when I was watching that show, they did a fuzzy convention murder about, the people that like to dress up and I guess have sex. Furry, sorry. Yeah, they did one of those. So maybe that would have, yeah.
So I've heard.
Yeah. It's fuzzy because I've never done it, so it's also fuzzy in my memory. But no, that's a good version of something. I always had a spec idea I wanted to do for one of the law shows, and it's a very specific idea, and it vaguely happened to someone I knew, but we never got a perfect answer. But the gist of it was that he was up for a job, And I don't exactly know what was said or not said, but like one of his references, which was his like best friend and roommate, he realized after the fact that they thought that they were like partners, like boyfriends, like boyfriends. And he honestly thought he didn't get the job because they somehow thought he was in a relationship with a man. And so it was it was a very like sort of like TV law show idea, which was, can a heterosexual man sue for
Presumed,
like basically discrimination, incorrect discrimination, but discrimination for being gay. It seemed interesting as an idea at the time, but
so you want to update it. You want to update it now and make it for presumed furry.
Now I want to make it for furry Klingons. Yeah. They thought I was a furry Klingon, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I would like to sue.
Why? That's so specific. Why did they think that?
Well, I did come dressed, but it was a misunderstanding. It
was not sexual.
Yeah, not in the least. Not in the least bit sexual. Anything else in the world? What's new in props? Should we jump to that?
Sure. Yeah. I have a good one. I have a show. It's very good, but I have a show and tell. I always like to bring something physical. It was my birthday recently.
Happy birthday.
A friend of mine, director who works on the show, Lonnie Peristier, and I are both collectors of things. I mean, he's not into original props, but he collects like original movie posters. We're into all like kind of the same stuff.
I feel like having met him, if you push a little bit, we can get him into props.
It's
totally. Like he's on the precipice, I feel like.
Although his wife, Juliet, who we're also very good friends with, Caitlin's very good friends with, I think would actually, like, we always joke about our wives murdering us. I think she would actually do it. I think it would. I think it would actually happen. So... but we can work on it. I did hand him. I got a couple of extra of these. This is not my what's new in prop, but the little pamphlet, the little props. Have you gotten your full physical catalog yet? I have not.
I did. I got
now
the
that
full
it's
catalog
after the auction.
Right.
But yes, I imagine we both have the.
Yeah, I did get my full physical catalog, but for some reason I did not get the I only have the PDF of that. Of that. Yeah, I got to get one.
Well, I grabbed a couple of these when we went to the live event. I gave one to Lonnie, and he's always like looking through with kind of eyebrows sitting on the top of his head. Anyway, he did this really really nice thing for me, and bought me this. So I'm just gonna show it, and then we can talk about it. But look.
Oh wow, very nice.
Yeah.
That's a first edition Goldfinger.
Yeah, first edition Goldfinger, and it's very cool. It's from this Peter Harrington Books here that's in London.
Okay.
Which I've never been to, but now I've got to go to because I got
to.
Yeah.
Mr. Kondo, welcome. Yeah. Have your order ready.
Just welcome. Here's your chair. There's this very cool inscription in it. It's not Ian Fleming, but it's dated 1959, so it's whoever I guess owned the book. His signature is a bit hard to read.
I was saying I couldn't make it out in the least, but can you?
Yeah. I have to work on it. It almost looks like it's written backwards. It's just sort of a strange one. But
it's not Sean Connery or Gert Frobe or anybody.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. But it's just totally excellent. And I've always loved the art on these. You can there's a. That's not the cover. There's a protective cover on
thing on it, and rightfully so.
It's like a matte finish, but yeah, it's this like skull clutching a rose. I've always really enjoyed that. So yeah,
beautiful.
That was really really cool, really cool.
Well, I mean, maybe this isn't the time to say it. Lonnie didn't get me shit for my birthday.
Well, we're gonna have to work on that.
Yeah. Well, all right.
I'll tell him. I'll push it along. He's a good guy, Lonnie.
Yeah,
Lonnie, we should again, not a collector, but we should have him on the podcast at some point.
We're not having him on until he buys his first prop. If he wants on, then he's got to
buys you a gift for your birthday.
Either or. But he's got to buy a prop.
Yes.
It can be a little prop, it can be like a call sheet or something, but he's got to buy a prop and start Lonnie, the dangerous journey down that path. Yeah.
Lonnie directed the Red Sewing episode in season 2, when Hugh and Ulf claim their dragons, big action episode, and he directed a huge episode this season. So maybe I don't know. Maybe once the show comes out, we'll have him come on and talk about that. And
Cool.
then because it was fun. We were in the various, like the armory and the props room, and also in the costumes room, sort of talking through concepts of things, and maybe we could do like a sort of writer-director duo from sort of a props perspective when you're going into like a big kind of set piece episode and the things that you think about and that had to be crafted for this.
Yeah, that might be nice, especially once the episode, obviously, the world can see it, because it'd be interesting to hear about the thought processes. It's kind of, I think, what people enjoyed about the Matt Shackman episode, which was sort of, by the time they heard it, most people had seen Fantastic Four, and so hearing about some of the design thoughts and whatnot, I think people kind of dug. So maybe sort of similar but different, but yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Do you have a what's new in props?
Very minor what's new in props, although I guess prop store related, which is I picked up a couple of odds and ends in some of their smaller ongoing online auctions that they've been doing in between the big auctions. It's really, I'm not across the board, but I think it's almost like sort of in an effort to thin out a little bit of the days 2 and 3s and sort of shrink the auctions down. I think it's some of those kind of day 2 and day 3 pieces that are sort of kind of being shifted a little bit to these ongoing sort of online auctions. And I
Which
may
is
have
probably smart, right? You just keep engagement all year long.
It keeps people, bidding throughout the year. They obviously, I guess my assumption would be, if they keep doing it, then they have the numbers proving it's working. And if they stop doing it, it means that it's too much. But so far they're still doing it, so I'm assuming it is working. I guess we could ask them that. But I've picked up a couple of, they are very, maybe you could argue that they're day 2 or day 3 pieces, but I've enjoyed them very much. I picked up and I may have mentioned this previously, but the point of the story is I got these framed and hung up on the wall, and if you're on the YouTube, here's a picture of them right now. The the two lots were, one was a pencil drawing on vellum of the Chinatown poster by Bill Polius, I'm butchering the name, but it's the.
So is he the artist on the
He's
one
the
sheet?
artist on the
Okay.
poster. Yeah, it's.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm going to say his
I
name
actually
correctly.
I did not have that artist name in my mental Rolodex.
Because he did not do a lot beyond, which is sort of interesting. Hold on,
It's such a great poster. I wonder if he did book covers, because that poster has always felt like one of those kind of 70s era book covers to me. Illustrated book cover.
Why can't I find anything that I'm looking for? Of course, I got the bill is wrong and the P was right. It's Jim Purcell. Pearsall. And this was a drawing for the Chinatown billboard, basically. It's sort of the poster image, but a little more horizontal, which is very cool.
Landscape.
Yes. And just very pretty and simple in pencil, but obviously I'm not ever going to own the original art to that poster, most likely. So was very happy about that and getting that framed. And then another lot that came out of Prop Store, which was from the Batman.
Also an American middle fielder, Dave, who died in June 2017.
Did not know.
Yeah.
Same guy? Question mark.
I guess it's a different.
From the Batman 66 show, the Adam West show, which I love, there's a very famous episode where he and the Joker go surfing, and there's a Bat surfboard and a Joker surfboard. And the Bat surfboard had basically like a chest logo on it, and the Joker surfboard has the Joker's head on it. And those basically were stick-ons. They didn't play in the water, basically. But basically they were stuck on the Bat logo and the Joker logo. And they are really fantastic, just graphic representations of Batman and the Joker. And those came up for sale from the costume person. The costumer, I believe, had them and put them in, or someone put them in for the costumer or from the costumer. And I grabbed those, and I was very, very excited about.
So this is a grab bag episode. I mean, we're going to answer a bunch of questions that have kind of left over on our social media feed, certainly from the email. We also put out a call for fresh stuff. So a bunch of people sent those in before this, so thank you. So we'll answer as many of those questions as we possibly can get to. We like to do these every once in a while just to kind of catch up, because there's so many auctions flying around, particularly at this, always in this last sort of 4 months of the year. It just feels like it's going to be auction, which is always fun and exciting to talk about, but that also means that we're not doing the sort of prop news, and we like to also bring in these interview subjects, and then the episode ends up being about that specific thing. So this was just an opportunity to catch up on some kind of open questions, topics, and things like that, and things that Dave and I want to talk about. But before we get into that, we just wanted to kind of come back around on this
Ongoing, yeah,
the never-ending fakes and frauds issue, and we. Look, I think we're gonna have more to say about this in the future, in a more kind of specific forum. But just in following up with a lot of the stuff that's been going on, I think it's really great that actually finally this discussion has been going on sort of outside of this lone podcast, and some activity that's been going on recently.
A lot of thank yous to people sort of coming forward online in the various Facebook groups and sort of, you know, speaking their truth of just kind of like, I was ripped off. These are fake. These are fake. And what's been really particularly interesting has been the reactions from, I guess, the purported fakers, I guess alleged fakers, to keep us from getting sued, which is sort of a refusal to engage, and really blocking, erasing of posts, blocking of posts and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think this speaks to a larger issue, which is it is time for the sellers, and I'm going to go one step further, I think the auction houses as well, and this raises a whole other issue, which is it is not up to us, the buyer. And again, you do your research and all of that thing and all of that, but it is not up to us to try and catch you or prove something is real or it is not real. You as the seller, you as the auction house, need to be doing your work and proving it. And if there is a question about whether it is real or not, the answer isn't you're blocked or how dare you. Prove it or shut the fuck up, and you're a liar and you're a faker, because the second you're not, that's the problem. That's my sort of sense of it.
Yeah, the burden of proof with this stuff does not sit with the buyer. It does not sit with the bidder in the auction. The burden of proof sits with the person that's putting it forward, either as an auction house, or if you're a #private deal seller online, you need to be able to show the work as to why this thing is real, and not just, you know, trust me, or if you ask more questions, I'm just going to move on to the next guy.
Right, it was used so much. But by the way, if you are going to ask a lot of questions and you are going to move on to the next guy, then hey, person who asked too many questions, good on you, because they moved on with the fake prop. I mean,
they did you a favor.
Yeah, look at there's a reaction. If someone said to me, I'm making this all up, if I'm trying to sell my Darth Vader helmet and they go, how do you know it's used?
I'll take it.
I don't go, it's too many questions, go fuck yourself, I'm moving on to the next seller. I go, here are the screen match photos. And if I don't have screen match photos, then I'm going to explain what I do have, or maybe where it came from, or a source. And in some cases, I have bought things that came from crew members, and I've in some cases even signed an NDA to go, I will be told the name of the crew member, and I'm going to get a letter from that crew member, but I am not allowed to share that with anyone else except when I go perhaps to sell it. And so the notion of it's from a crew member, I can't tell you anything, go fuck yourself, you're blocked. Well, that just sounds like you're a fucking liar. We're back to that again. So it just read the room, buyers. Like, look, how is your seller acting? And by the way, this goes for auction houses. You need to be able to say and show this is used throughout the movie. Great. Show me the screen grabs. Show me how you know this was used throughout the movie. Otherwise, it's just words. It's just words. And I'm just getting fucking sick of it.
Yeah. Yeah. At the very least, if you can't show a screen match, show photos where, like, look at the build style. This thing is all this stuff is, this is the same. These behind the scenes photos, it's not matching this exact frame, but here all these things are lining up to show that it was built the same way, the same colors, the way the interior of the helmet was shown in this behind the scenes. I mean, that's the kind of research that people do, and honestly, that's the collectors who are here to collect and have real stuff. This is the stuff that we love. The provenance and telling that story. I mean, find a prop collector and ask them what they can tell you about the piece, and you'll get a very excited, buzzing guy who's been waiting all week to answer such a question, because
in some cases years yeah,
had a completely enough of Dad talking about his Wrath of Khan costume and why it's the only one made and why it's so awesome. So those are I mean, honestly, those are the things that we live for. And those are the things that we are proud to show off when the thing is real. And when on the other hand, when conversations are shut down and people are blocked or quit or leave groups and end the discussion and yell, I'll sue you, and you don't know what you're talking about.
General hostility and how dare you? How
Not
dare
a good
you?
sign.
The second you hear how dare you, you're being lied to. It's a fake. If anyone you ask, hey, excuse me, can I see the inside of that Superman cape? How dare you? Just hashtag how dare you is just that's equals a fake. Yeah, exactly. How dare you? Yeah, how dare you?
How dare you?
What color is the resin? How dare you?
How much does it weigh?
Is there any like sweat stains or signs of usage? How dare you? It's like Dianu. If for those of you Passover, do you know that one, Ryan?
No.
Is that even?
No.
I can't wait for you back in the United States. I am bringing you to a Passover Seder. Your whole family.
Okay,
They're gonna
I've
love
never done it.
They're gonna love it.
Never done it.
Dianu is this song that is sung at all the Passover Seders, and it means it would have been enough. And it's all about the various things in the story of of Moses leaving Egypt, of all the things sort of God did to help the Israelites, and each one it would have been enough, but it keeps going. So it's like, if he had taken us out of slavery but not led us through the desert, Dianu. If he had led us through the desert but not given us the 10 Commandments, Dianu. Like, everything would have been enough, but you just keep going, and then you sing Dianu. But anyway, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you?
I like Dianu. It would have been enough.
Yeah. No, exactly.
A photo of the screen match would have been enough.
Would have been enough. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Story of who you got it from.
Yeah. A sweat stain would have been enough.
A name would have been enough. Yeah. But
look at the stitching.
How dare you? How dare you?
This is good. We should just call this one. This was a good episode.
How dare you? Hashtag how dare you? Yeah. There's a wonderful Matt Groening before The Simpsons, when he came to fame with did you ever read the Life in Hell strips? Was that something you ever looked at?
Oh, yeah.
With the bunnies or whatever. They have names, but I can't remember. And there's a wonderful one that is my absolute favorite one that if I ever saw, I would just bid on whatever. But I got to meet Matt at an autograph signing. This is back when I was in college. He came to the school bookstore and he signed, and I got him to sign.
Was he a Harvard guy?
Nope. He just came. I think he was just on a tour of I think there was an underground nature to Life in Hell at the time. Like, it ran sort of in cool newspapers. So I think it was just a smart college tour, for lack of a better word. So he came to the college bookstore and signed, and it's I can't remember the overall gist of it, but it's sort of like, it was like life in college, and it was basically things to like yell in class, like when the professor says something, and it's just one of the rabbit characters, Binky, with the one ear. It's like him yelling, "Au contraire, mon frère," as something to yell in a class. So it's like, I can't tell you the name of who it came from. "Au contraire, mon frère."
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah. It was a crew guy in the 90s.
Yeah.
Crew
guy in the 90s, yeah, who's dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Here are my many shadows. Au contraire.
It's also, when you listen to these guys tell their stories about their mysterious crew guys, it's very much like one of my all-time favorite movies. It's, we should get a clip of it. It's in Zodiac, when they go and they show up at the Zodiac Killer or possible Zodiac Killer's trailer. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not the trailer. Sorry, it's when they go to interview him the first time at his office in the factory.
At the office, yeah.
Yes, and he just keeps going like, Well, the reason there was blood all over me was because I was killing chickens. And they're like, what? Yeah, that's why I had the knives and the blood. You can ask my neighbor, but he's dead. And it's just everything is always, but he's dead. And it's like, you can ask him. He saw me, but he died a couple of years ago. And it's just, that's every one of these like mysterious crew guy stories. You know, if they're from a crew guy, then a reputable seller or auction house should be able to privately tell you who it is, or at least reveal it to you. You know,
if you're a serious bidder.
If you're a serious bidder or some version of that. It just,
For me, I went with a more lowbrow reference, which is just Jan from the Brady Bunch and her boyfriend George Glass.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Sure, Jan. Okay, okay, Jan.
Yeah,
he couldn't come to dinner because he's very ill, but he really wanted to be here.
Poor George.
Glass.
Yep.
Yeah, he worked on movie sets all the time in the 1990s.
So yeah, please write us and tell us why we're fucking wrong and why we're fucking idiots. So please enjoy. Please go for it.
Do.
Yeah. Speaking of mail, Speaking of mail. How dare you?
You know who's a mailman? Moses. So let's open this mailbag and answer some questions. So Tommy Essen, a super fan of the podcast, and I think recent winner to one of our giveaways.
Which I have to actually send him, but anyway, go on.
Oh, Dave, come on.
I know.
Have you had to mentally wrestle with the situation of a major wish list piece coming up for sale via a vendor you didn't respect?
How dare you, Tommy? How dare you?
Diana. As in, you were fully confident, particularly pieces of authenticity, and you really wanted it, but felt uncomfortable or even guilty by the prospect of potentially giving that vendor business. Yes, I just went through this. I'm not going to say with who, but Dave knows. I was just all over the map, back and forth, and I was really struggling. And ultimately, I did not engage because I wasn't worried about the piece. I was worried about the process.
Right.
And it spooked me enough that I just didn't get
Didn't
involved.
trust the idea of putting a bid on it. Yeah, no, we talked a lot about it. Worried that like you'd be run up, that the bidding was fake, just like a million problems, but not the piece itself, just the folks involved. I think I've yet to have it, maybe, thank God, in the prop world, but there's certainly in the comic art world, there's one dealer in particular who I think is basically a borderline criminal and has, both a reputation for having ripped a lot of people off and really fucked me over in a
borderline
really quite
criminal. I mean, that's
way.
so much better than what we usually deal with.
Well, I know, but I guess it's just like, I'm not quite sure, how any of it is, what laws are chargeable. But anyway, I don't care for him. And he knows it, which is hilarious too. But just and of course, by the way, like the other great mark of all of these sort of liars, thieves, and I was going to say scoundrels, but I like scoundrels because of Han Solo. Liars, thieves, and something or others. Highwaymen, brigands, highwaymen, exactly.
Ne'er-do-wells.
The other move is like the defense. The best defense is a good offense. So it's like, yeah, but you were mean to me that time. You know what I mean, or whatever it is. And in this particular case, this is a guy that. I mean, again, to me,
you bought that prop I offered you, and then
exactly,
you said you were going to offer it back to me, but then you never did.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so I sold you a fake prop, but you did that thing. So you're the asshole.
Yeah, it's you. And this guy, honestly, basically just did something really horrible. And his explanation was that I had been very difficult in a deal. It was like, he was really hard on a deal we did. And it was just like, and what was great was it was a lie. It was a pretty easy deal. Like he lied, but also went on the defense. So yeah, it's that sort of thing. So I've had it in comic art, and I just pay. It's like his booth doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It's like I walk through Comic-Con and I never look to the left. It's very easy and very simple. And I guess I could imagine something showing up there that I had to have, and I guess I would figure it out through an intermediary or something if I had to have it. But boy, oh boy, really not interested. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a real struggle.
How dare you? George, I'll go next. George Savas from email. Goes with email about Huxtable furniture set. I'm wondering what you guys think of faithfully restoring pieces generally, which classic TV shows you might have in your collection, and what you might think about pieces from controversial properties. I guess I wasn't aware that the Huxtable furniture set was up for grabs. It was interesting with the very sad death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, of people playing some really wonderful clips of Malcolm Jamal Warner, many of which are obviously in concert with him and Professor Cosby, and the sort of long explanations that they needed to go through to kind of, before they could show you a clip from the Cosby Show, of like making it clear that while this is a funny scene, we don't like Bill Cosby, we don't blah 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 blah. I am not. So I don't necessarily know. Restoring pieces generally. I guess furniture, like restoring. I'm not really sure what the question is here. I guess in terms of controversial stuff, look, for everybody, it's their own. I'm not buying Mel Gibson stuff. I'm not buying Cosby stuff.
You just bought a piece of Chinatown art.
That's true. So I guess the Roman Polanski, I'm able to separate the two. I guess it helps that the female victim has sort of, I guess, forgiven him. Maybe that helps. I don't know. I don't have a great answer. There are also, I've managed to separate Woody Allen films, from Woody Allen. I can do that. I don't know, but I don't have a great answer. I'm not sure
it's a
about,
tough one.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the restoration part. I'm confused. So yeah, sorry.
It's a tough one. I mean, my greatest fear when I was meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger was that it was not going to be a good experience, because I had so much money and props tied up in him, and I was like, please, I can't. But thankfully, he really really delivered. So that relieved me. But no, I don't.
But you weren't worried he was going to have a child out of wedlock on you, kind of a thing. You're talking about more like an intimate.
I really love Arnold. Maybe I would have been up for it, Dave.
You mean like a personal interaction where he's an asshole and you just walk away going, God, what an asshole!
We've all had that, right? I mean, we had it on this very podcast.
Yeah.
But
we've had it in over 5,000 forms of communication. How dare you?
Very good. Oh, yeah. That stuff is. That's more those more personal encounters versus. I'm looking around trying to think. Look, David and I also collect from an era where there was some pretty problematic behavior, even at the baseline of that was sort of accepted at the time.
I'm not sure you wanted to be a woman on any of these sets.
In this world here, but I don't know. I don't think I have anything too terrible. Yeah, I think I'm all right. I think I'm good. I
have a gorgeous piece of Robert McGinnis poster art. Have I talked about this? For Sleeper by Woody Allen, and I love that movie, and I love the piece of art, and I love his versions of both Woody Allen, and the way he draws Diane Keaton is just gorgeous. And that is not something Becky really wanted in the house. Like, she likes movie poster art. We have movie poster art in the house. That is not one she was really up for.
Yeah, that's understandable.
That's okay. But I have it at my place, at my other place. Movie that helps. I don't know.
With your other family.
Yeah, exactly. They're much more understanding. They get me. Moving on. You want to go to the next one?
Yeah. This is from 1138 Replicas on Instagram. 2 questions. One, have you found a good way to catalog or archive your collections? Yes, and we're going to be actually doing an episode on that, I think, probably in the upcoming. Very industriously, David has been working on a thing we can just tease it there.
Basically, I got together with one of my good comic art pals, I'll say his name, Ron Sonnenthal, and we basically went out and we hired a company that builds databases, designer databases on top of FileMaker Pro, and basically we created a program that is part comic art and art sort of database, and part movie prop database that is, really good with basically the various categories you want and handling the photos and all the things you'd want. And I don't quite know what we're sort of getting very near to finalizing it. I'm very excited. And I think hopefully if it all works and whatever, I don't know, maybe there'll be a way of making it available to folks that are interested. We are not certainly looking to be in the software business. We are not looking to, get rich, but we would love to ultimately maybe recoup our costs. It was not free, but it was not crazy either. But yeah, no, I mean, basically, looked out in the world and, look, Excel is wonderful for lists. And if you have a list, this program will allow you to import your list. But in terms of handling the photos and being able to deal with like the photos, screen match photos, multiple angle photos of an image, those various spreadsheets are just really terrible with graphics. And this is hopefully a simple way. So tried to find one and ultimately making my own is the answer. More to come.
Yeah, I'm in, so I'm very much looking forward to that. The second question there was, what is the most sentimental piece in your collection? For me, I think it's probably, I mean, this is a valuable piece, but it's also sentimental. It's my Conan sword, simply because when I started this, that was probably number 1 or 2 on my list of things that I would love to have that I never thought I was going to have. And not only did I get it, but I managed to track it down in the wild. And I just think that there's no feeling like that. I don't know that I will ever experience that particular high again. And I think just for that reason,
and what that movie means to you.
Correct. Yeah. But that's why that moment was so important, because of the movie meaning a lot to me. It's not just turning up the piece, but it's like turning up the piece that you would have most liked to turn up as a collector. I think that probably would be my my number one. That or my first, which was my pulse rifle. So I think, and those are both early pieces, back when I was doing a little bit more pounding the pavement work.
Yep.
What about you? Can I guess?
Go for it,
guess
please,
that
please.
it's actually not a prop, it's a piece of comic art? I mean, if you just look at your collection as a whole, is that fair?
Well, I guess I would, like I'd very lawyerly try and be allowed to pick one for each, but go for,
please.
But go for it. What do you think?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, my guess, and again, it's very valuable, but my guess would be your giant size one, just because I remember you telling me that story of always wanting the giant size, the book, and reaching.
It's funny. It would be that, or honestly, the first piece of art I ever bought, which was a piece of Matt Wagner from the Batman Faces. It's a Batman Two-Face story from Legends of the Dark Knight that I just loved. And it was just the first single page of comic art that I ever bought, and I remember it and whatever. Whereas in prop world, the first piece I ever bought was actually my Return of the Jedi Stormtrooper helmet, which I no longer have. And even though I don't have that specific one, in a strange way, I sort of just transferred the feelings of the Stormtrooper helmet kind of over actually to the Greg Jein set of armor, where it just sort of, the Stormtrooper as a character now just sort of represents for me my sort of entree into props, even though that is not the one that I bought all those years ago, if that makes any sense. So I guess I always think about that piece, even though you could argue I have pieces that are, maybe better and whatnot, but I guess I always think about that Stormtrooper helmet and then my current Stormtrooper helmet. So yeah.
Great. Good answer.
Excellent question, by the way. 1138 replicas.
Great question.
Yeah.
And then Paul Dolan from Instagram also asks, I'm not a prop collector, parentheses, yet, but I am looking to purchase my first piece. I'm interested in a film-related art and wanted to ask if you have any advice collecting, displaying, and more importantly, preserving artwork. I mean, artwork is actually, if you can get it, is one of the easier things to collect, because you don't need to find, there's one guy in the UK that builds stands for movie props and understands the care and feeding of them. There's like one guy in Los Angeles. There's one guy on the East Coast. Whereas there are art framers everywhere. So if you get a piece of movie artwork, it's really just tracking down the piece that you want. Then you find an art framer, somebody that deals in original fine art, and instead of you going in and telling them what you want, other than I want it to look like this, they will tell you what you should be doing to preserve the piece. And that's the best advice that I can give you, is always go to the professional.
And the most basic thing I would simply say is, because people do make this mistake, beware the sun. You just do not want to hang a piece of art where the sun will hit it. That is how you end up basically getting a piece where the paper turns because of the sun. And in some cases, depending on what the piece is, whether it's a color piece, a pen and ink piece, it'll fade. The sun will make a piece fade.
Yeah,
and
it's
where I basically keep most of where I have art on the walls. I not only have I have double blackout shades. I have blackout shades, and then I have a shade in front of the blackout shades to make sure that it's basically no sunlight gets in. I mean, it's there are there are coatings you can put on windows, and there are just other places you can hang them. But the sun is the killer, and you can have the best, finest museum glass that is blocking as many things in the world. It ain't gonna stop the sun. The only one that,
over time.
Yes, it's not gonna be a day, but that's the biggie. That is the biggie. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so also good question. Good luck, Paul, and let us know please. when you collect your first piece.
Yeah,
and what
I think
what
the beauty of art, maybe even slightly more than props, is the range of prices. Which is obviously you can buy a $500,000, Bob Peak Apocalypse Now poster, but you can also find in some cases, pencil versions of posters, early, or unused designs, storyboards, maybe not Star Wars ones, but, there are just a wide range of art, production art and stuff. And so I think you've got a lot of opportunities for doing that. If you're interested, I guess,
Right. And then Jamie Benning, friend of the podcast,
from Filmumentaries.
Hello, Jamie. Asks which items from each other's collections really belong in your own.
Should we pick one? Should we just pick one? It's a good question. But
I have one that you should have, which is the fake Wrath of Khan phaser you sold.
I sent Ryan recently a wonderful, it's like a Japanese water gun that looks very similar. So I think we're going to have a second one soon enough.
Yeah. That's a good question. That's a good.
Yeah. Obviously I like it all, but I don't know. There's things I want, but I guess I'm going to stick, Jamie. The phrase really belongs in your collection is the part I'm obsessing on in an interesting way. I don't know. I sort of think I should have the Khan away suit. I'm sorry, man. I think I should. Yeah.
You're taking it? You're taking it out?
Because then it could be next to Khan. I have the the full Khan, and I have a Wrath of Khan full Spock suit. So I feel, and I have the phaser, the tricorder, whatnot. I feel like it.
Yeah. Are you just gonna leave the phaser behind? So that'll be it's just the empty mannequin.
You'll just have the phaser, but but I'm adding spotlights.
That's good. That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Because it sort of fits. Yeah. I might go. This is a small one, but I'm gonna go your Aliens clapper, just because you moved on from your whole Aliens collection.
Should go with your stuff. I agree. I get that.
And then you held on to the Aliens clapper, which I think it's great. That's if you're gonna have a one thing from a movie, a clapper is such a great thing to have.
If I had not existed, if you were a lone podcaster and lone collector, so to speak, in that auction, because that's the same auction you got the Princess Bride clapper.
Yeah.
Would you have gone for both? Would you have laid out for both?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Teresa Whiskey, which we should point out that when Bart types it changes it to Teresa, which is very funny. So it's probably the Whiskey Guys, but
Bart once loved a woman named Teresa, and he's never forgiven her. So now
he adds her name to all.
Or she never forgave him, and then changed something in his phone. And he can't figure out how to do it. I don't know. There's a whole story there.
So
but it's the Whiskey Guy,
Teresa Whiskey Guys, or the Whiskey Guys from Instagram.
From IG.
Many questions. Ryan, how's your comic art collecting going?
It's going strong. I mean, I don't know if we've done an update recently. I mean, I kind of got a bunch of stuff sort of at once, and I haven't picked up something in a while. There is something on the radar coming up. We'll talk about that at maybe a separate time. But what I think the one thing that I don't know that we mentioned on the podcast is I picked up this really amazing. Speaking of Matt Wagner, frequent collaborator Kelly Jones.
Oh, yes.
I picked up a beautiful, beautiful Kelly Jones Batman cover from this series Gotham After Midnight. It's actually
I think you said that on the show.
I
that
feel
was
like
after when you came back from the Italy show, right? Was that when you got that?
No.
Oh.
No. I mean, that was some months back. It might have even been the end of last year.
I feel like you talked about this, but go for it.
But maybe I talked. You and I definitely talked about it. But that was the most recent. It's gorgeous. I'll send a photo to Bart either way, so you can post it up on the feed or cut it right here into the podcast. It's really excellent. There's a bunch of stuff on the radar. I really thought really long and hard about that great Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles wraparound cover that came up in the last Heritage auction. It's just timing is. I'm just in this place where I keep thinking that there's not going to be a prop on the immediate horizon that I need to have, and these things just keep coming up and coming along, and I keep doing a bit of this, trying to play zone defense and not knowing where to cover. So
it's always funny because also it's sort of like I think one of the pieces that's coming up I showed you, and I never know whether I know you kind of want to see it, but you also kind of don't want to see it. But I knew when I showed it to you, you were going to be like, "Oh my god," like whatever. Yeah. But it's the real deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still very committed to this. Again, it's such a small field. I got a bunch of the things I really wanted. There's 5 or 6 other kind of big things that would kind of have larger price tags on them that I would want, and that's really, to me, would represent that, that white hot couple of years where I was deeply into comics. But we'll come back around and do. Actually, there's a comic art themed episode coming up in the near future that I think we'll probably get more into.
Yeah, I
this
think we'll probably
topic.
When we switch back to the Heritage sponsored shows brought to you by Prop Store and Julian's, we'll probably try and do a comic art auction themed one, or a comic art in general, just because obviously they sell comic art as opposed to Prop Store, which dabbles in comic art but doesn't have the sort of as the dedicated auction. So yeah, maybe that's
I'm not drinking any whiskey today. Today is my off day. I try to do like 3 or 4 days in a row every week without any alcohol at all. It's just sort of a health thing as I climb into my middle age. So today's a dry day. And
I'm drinking Diet Pepsi.
Fantastic. But
this was bottled. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Can you talk about it? Last whiskey I had was a Capradonic, which is a silent distillery single cask from the Vaults collection from the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. It was a very old one. I have a 32-year-old and I have like a 25-year-old, and I forget which one I reached for, but it's lovely. Dave loves the whiskey talk. So let's release a special whiskey together. I think that's a great idea.
That I'm into. Even though I don't want to talk about whiskey, I would be up to a special whiskey together. That I'd be interested in. Yeah.
And then they asked
hashtag private deal. It would be the name of the whiskey.
We leave this one off.
Or how dare you? Which do you like better as a name for the whiskey?
How dare you?
How dare you, or hashtag private deal? Those are our working whiskey titles. Yeah.
Yeah.
With a picture on the label of a photoshopped gun floating on a stand.
Very good. I think just private deal makes a much that you can actually name that your distillery.
Oh.
Yeah. The first release could be "How Dare You" from
private deal
from
distillery. Hashtag private deal distillery. I like
that. We talked about this earlier in the day. The Dark Knight page fake scandal. Do we want to go back into it?
This is
Dave
too hard,
doesn't think
guys.
it's a thing.
I'm not. I have to listen to the whole podcast. I do think someone put something up. I'm not quite sure what it really means. So I haven't listened to the end. I haven't listened to the podcast. So we'll move on from
We'll come
that
back.
and maybe
Okay.
come back when I have all the facts, because I don't want to speak out of turn. Yeah.
Jack Proctor asked the same thing about Sentimental Prop. We
Yep.
answered that. That was I1138 Replicas asked
Yep.
that. So Jack, you heard our answers. There you go. Thanks for writing. Targaryen Loyalist from Twitter. Gee, I wonder why you listen to this show. How many versions of key props like swords, crowns, dragon eggs are made for filming? And then are any of the props recycled or repurposed from Game of Thrones? It's sort of Mr. Loyalist. It sort of depends on what the piece is. But I would say, there's a handful made of each thing. Actually, with the dragon eggs, we don't make that many. There's probably like the one that's on screen and then the backup, unless it's being used for a particular thing. I mean, I've talked before about the one that I took home, which is the sort of Nerf version of the one that Daemon steals in season 1 and takes to Dragonstone, and Rhaenyra comes back to reclaim it to prove to her dad that she's sort of worthy of his courtly trust. And that one, there was a gag where Daemon at the end throws it to Rhaenyra, and we want it to be safe for the egg, safe for the actress. So they built it out of this Nerf material, and I just love that because it's squishy. So that's the one that I grabbed and took home. And I think there were 2 of those, but I took the one that they were lobbing back and forth to one another for that entire day. And then there are a couple of there were ones that had to be able to sit on heat in those kilns that we put them in. So they build that out of this really heavy heat resistant material, which is really cool because the egg is really chunky. It actually feels like a fossil, I guess, thing. But really, other than those special gags, they probably build 2 of the sort of normal kind of cast, not heavy but not squishy version. Swords. It depends. Dark Sister for Daemon, there are tons of them because he uses it every season. For whatever reason, a lot of Matt's scabbards break. People don't think about this, but when you're walking around in medieval times, you have this big wooden thing kind of hanging off your hip, and you go through doorways and modern things that wouldn't have existed in medieval times. Sometimes it gets caught or snagged. It's made out of wood. It snaps a lot. So we have definitely a big pile of broken scabbards for Dark Sister. But there's the Hero Blade, the one that was made by Peter Janssen, the full steel one. Then there's a bunch of aluminum backup blades that are made for it.
Aluminium.
We have short and long versions. So there's a version that's about 6 inches shorter that you would never notice unless you held them up together. That's just easier for a quick draw because it just comes out of the scabbard quicker. So we'll use those sometimes for that sort of gag. There are obviously rubber ones for fighting. Those get banged up and broken up and then thrown in the rubbish pile. We have stabbing ones that have a shortened blade depending on how far the blade goes in. So the blade would be cut off and then flattened at a point and then extended in visual effects. So with Dark Sister, I mean, there's tons of different versions, and then there's a big pile of those swords. But honestly, the answer is there's not much stuff that's made that's not used. So if that makes sense. So they're making it with a couple of backups things. If it breaks, we have 2 units, so sometimes you need to have one in each location because the unit is staying here, but Daemon is traveling back and forth. So you need a lot of cover there. The crowns, there's only probably a couple, like 1, 2 of each of the crowns, again because of the way those things are used, and those are hero props, so they're taken to the set with great care. They're put on the actor. They're taken off the set. They're put in the box and walked away so that I can't get to them.
They're put in Ryan's car trunk in his lorry.
That's right.
Put the aluminium sword in my lorry, please.
My #private deals number plate lorry, yes, that I drive to and fro the studio. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers the question. We do have a tremendous amount of stuff made for the show, but it's still, as with any other kind of big budget production, there's a couple of things and that's it. But we have Daemon only has 1 or 2 versions of each costume, but he has 10 costumes across now the 3 seasons or whatever it is. So there will be 30 Daemon costumes on the racks, but only 2 or 3 of each version, depending on what they were used for. And then we did borrow some stuff from original Game of Thrones, but it's not stuff that you would ever recognize. It's all background things that we sort of did recycle and repurpose, but we recombined things and stripped costumes down to component parts and then mixed them up and did this set of trousers with this cloak over here, and re-dyed this thing so that it looked differently. And that's just for sort of background numbers, multiplying armies, things like that. I think there are some shields that maybe we repurposed just because the sigils are the same for background things.
And you
like
also
that.
talked about like there are certain design things like for the Hand of the King where you copied the but you didn't.
Yeah,
you copied
it was based on
right, but you didn't use it on screen. Exactly.
Correct. We made our own. Yeah, exactly. Yes, and we wanted this to feel very much in the world of, but with the idea that because they came second, even though they came first in sort of release order, they came second in story order. We're always weighing up, okay, well, if that's what the thing becomes, where did it start and how was it in this era that was more Targaryen focused? It's more decadent. There was more money floating around. Those are always the things that we're interrogating when we're making these things.
Everything in your sort of show looks more like a giant like cell phone plugged into a briefcase. Like everything is sort of bigger and a little less technology-wise wieldy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if Targaryen loyalist wasn't a loyalist before, my God, he is going to be loyal now with that answer. So bravo.
There you go, man.
Yep.
Stephen Withers on YouTube asked, did we win anything in the Heritage auction? What's Ryan's reaction to the White Earth pistol? Yes, we never did it didn't work with timing and whatever. By the time
we were trying to actually get Joe Dante back to talk about his reaction, obviously to the sled selling, to Rosebud selling, which was a fascinating. Did we ever talk? I guess we never even really talked about. Did we talk about the auction at all? I don't even know if we ever talked about anything.
We did not.
It was a very strange auction. Just to talk about Rosebud, we'll get to what we won in a minute, but it was really interesting. There were 2 bidders. One bidder was very aggressive, constantly jumping the bid, and the other bidder clearly seemed like they were bidding for somebody, and that every time a bid came in, they were reporting the bid, almost like they had 2 phones. And they were almost like going like, okay, now it's at $11,000. Our next bid would be $12,000. And there'd be like a pause and then like, okay, $12,000. But that reaction on bidder number 2 was the same when it was at $100,000 and $200,000. And it was the same pause when it was 9 million, 10 million, 11 million. And they actually ultimately won it. The more bidder one, who was the more aggressive one, kept trying to like bump them out and then actually ultimately gave up. It was really fascinating. But there was certainly a moment early on where it barely looked like it was going to break $1 million. It was kind of going very slow and very weird. So who knows? I don't know. That was just fascinating to watch from my perspective. Did you end up bidding on anything? I honestly have lost all track.
I did not. I was very happy with the result, though. Who would have seen that coming? On the pistol was just incredible. But no, that was a kind of watch and see auction for me, and other things kind of cooking and going on, and debts to be paid and things like that. But no, it was I was who wouldn't be? I was absolutely thrilled with the result.
I bid and lost on the Bob Peak art for Excalibur. Yeah. It just blew by like even my highest number. By the way, even a couple over where I said I wasn't going to bid beyond. The usual regret, which is if I'd known I was going to lose, maybe I would have gone and attempted to bid on the Japanese poster, which was the lot before it, or even the Comfort of Strangers one, which I really thought was pretty. Again, those obviously would have gone higher had I been bidding on them. So it's not like they would have necessarily, it's not like I would have won them for one more bid, so you don't know where things would have gone. But I was disappointed in not winning that. And then I ultimately did bid on and win, and did go a little higher than I wanted to. I did win the Godfather 2 clapper. I felt good enough about it, the pictures that I was able to find, and I won it, and I was very happy. Not gonna lie, higher than I wanted to, plus the buyer's premium, which definitely, pushed it closer to probably 50K than I would have really liked. But in the world of Godfather, where there are not a lot of props, or props that I really want, I guess is the answer, or props that I want that Coppola doesn't have, this was great. And it's funny, my Godfather collection now is basically a clapper, the credits roll from Godfather 2, the two like logos that were auctioned off, one from the one from the trailer and one from the opening credits of The Godfather, the first movie. It's all sort of this, I guess, non-prop stuff. It's all sort of more production related, which I mean I love. It's just funny. I have never quite found a prop. I've never quite found like a can of Genko olive oil or something, from the movie itself, something that says Waltz International Pictures, or I don't know, that kind of a thing. Anyway, I was very happy, but like I said, bummed about the Excalibur piece.
It's a good one.
I hope whoever got it
yet?
was great. No, don't have it. I have nothing. So yeah, not quite yet. I'll show it off when I do.
Caleb on YouTube asked, Ryan, what's the screen grabbing software I was on about? It's called MPV is the one. So go out and seek it out. It's really cool. And you can do frame by frame, which is the key thing for doing any of this.
Oh, I have a question for anybody on here that's Mac savvy. Is there a program that lets you download songs from Spotify that you're not supposed to download? Please write us and let me know. There's a strange bootleg concert by Lou Reed that I'm trying to get a hold of. Anyway, so thank you. Please let me know about that. Does this next one make any sense?
Stephen Saunders just asking about art preservation. He purchased a very old Snow White. I mean, I would just go to an art framer and just talk to them, or find somebody that works in sort of paper preservation. There used to be this great one in LA that David and I use. They've since shut. I think in the UK, there might be somebody prop store actually does know a paper person. I know because I've spoken to them.
I'm looking at this piece. It's a grumpy pencil drawing from Snow White. It looks really good. I mean, it looks really good. So I honestly think, I thought maybe it was a sell, because I was also going to add, you can always actually talk to an animation dealer that probably knows certain things about, like, framing cells. But this is a piece of paper with a pencil drawing on it. It looks in really nice condition. It's really crisp. It's really clear. I think you just treat it like, as we were saying before, just you treat it with, archival framing and keep it out of the sun. I think it's going to be fine. Again, I would be more worried about the sun with that piece than anything else about it, for what it's worth. So that's my best advice there.
That's a good one.
Jeff Tilley, can I ask if you may have noticed a prop where it has re-entered the market and that auction has achieved less rather than more than the previous hammer price?
Oh, it happens all the time.
All the time. I think people overpay, unfortunately. I think you saw a lot of it, or you're seeing even some of it in this sort of recent period, where I think there was a little bit of overpaying during the COVID years, and then people are putting some of those things back in auction and not quite getting what they had into it because they overpaid.
Yeah, because you have to sell it for 25% more than you bought it for just to break even. So, yeah, it's a tricky one.
And I think this is true about collectibles in general, which is the middle of the hobby is soft, meaning the A pieces are going up for the most part. I really do believe that an A piece goes into auction, A couple of years later, it goes into auction again. It goes for a bigger
It's up.
number.
Yeah.
The low end of the auction, the low end pieces, which, you know, the auction houses don't quite love as much, but there's always somebody looking for a low end prop, and you probably can at least get your money out or kind of get around the same number, if not a little more. It's the middle where if you overreach, if you overbid, whatever, you need to know that, like, you're kind of going after something that isn't what everybody wants. And what are you overpaying? And if you are overpaying, that's great if you are thinking, I'm going to hold on to this for a very, very, very long time. But if you are overpaying in the middle with hopes of putting it back into auction in 3 or 4 months and making a profit, you're not. So again, it's sort of, I know sometimes you have to sell, but I think the middle is soft in a lot of hobbies in general, including movie props.
Yeah. Yeah. Good one. Stephen Withers asks, prop store auctions usually list a starting price and an estimate, with a lower number in the estimate being the reserve. So, for example, if a lot has a starting price of $500, an estimate of $1,000 to $2,000, you need to bid a minimum of $1,000 to win the lot. And yet, I often see auctions where there's a bid just below the reserve, $900 in this example, and then it doesn't sell. This makes no sense to me, because if you're prepared to bid $900, what's another $100? Are these house bids trying to push the bidders to reserve sport bids, or people are want to be involved with actually winning anything, or there's some other strategy I'm missing? Honestly, Stephen, I think there's a couple of things going on. Yes, with prop store in particular, the low estimate is the reserve. So unless you hit that low estimate, the buyer is not committed to selling the piece. That's not to say that if you had $1,000 reserve and somebody actually bid $900 on it, that you wouldn't sell it at the end of the day. There's always a conversation, but he is not contractually obligated to let go of the piece until you hit that low reserve. And the people, sometimes it is the sort of auction house, they do that sort of run up bidding just to create some frenzy around the piece. I don't really understand it, because everybody kind of knows that it's not real bidding.
I think everybody does it a little differently. I think sometimes if you want to sell something at $1,000, the way you put it into the system is basically you're sort of saying you have a $900 bid so that there is a $1,000 bid. But I don't think in some cases, again, certain auction houses, I don't think they're pretending like the 900 is real. I do think in some of the no reserve auctions, the sort of scattered bidding, even if is more, I think it's more real in that, even if it's, well, I know I just said it's a no reserve auction, but there's no reserve, but they want the first bid to be $1,000. If that makes any sense, it's different ways of phrasing it.
But sometimes it is but sometimes it is the just platform system doing the sort of run up to the low reserve, right?
But maybe it has to. I think it may be a software issue. Anyway, I don't have the answer. I think the larger answer is, if something doesn't sell and you want to pay $100 less, there's a good chance in the second round of second chance offers you can get it.
You will get it.
Yeah, I think the software has certain issues, and that's why you're seeing some of this stuff. I don't think anybody's bidding $900 thinking that that's their high. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And however, there are if you go on the prop store, the auction's over now, but before the auction, if you go on tonight while we're recording this, and look, there's a bunch of bids on things. Those are real bids from people that are, I think they're probably just marking bids, right? As a way of, instead of just doing a favorites page, if you mark a bid and then you get outbid, you actually get an active email that you've been outbid. I think it might be a way that people just keep track of the things they are going to bid on. I'm never quite sure what the strategy is there. Like if there's a piece that the reserve is $100,000, you'll see somebody put in a bid for 50 on it, which it will not sell for that. It will not sell to them for that. But there's something about, I don't know, it's territory marking.
I think some people just like to do that for fun. I will also tell you, as someone that bids on probably far too many different bidding systems, there are some bidding sites for some of for example, the comic auctions that I bid on that have just terrible interfaces, and that there's no great way of watching something. So it's much easier to just throw a bid early in the process on something that is never going to but it is just a way of then at least when
now
you
you're
go
one of the bidders.
So when you go back to the website, you get either updates or you can check on your bids, as opposed to the watch function, which is not doesn't work well. So different. I've noticed that with certain systems as well, wherever that. Yeah.
Frank Berman asks, general collecting question. This is a good one. If you had a chance to own either a copy of Action Comics #1 or a 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle rookie card, condition not being an issue, which would you own?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
That's a good one.
Boy, I am really torn. I want to say Action Comics 1, but and if it was any other like non-New York Yankee player, like I don't know who you would name, like if you said I don't know, like Ty Cobb or Shoeless Joe Jackson or something that has like, you know, crazy value. 1,000% Action 1, but I am such a diehard Yankee fan. The idea of having the Mickey Mantle, I think, trumps the Action 1. I don't know, but I will tell you this: I think I would take a detective. First appearance of Batman, a detective, whatever it is,
37,
26, 27. Shit, I should know this. Whatever that is. Are you okay? I think whatever that one is, I would rather have that. Detective 27, right? It's
27.
Yeah. Okay. I think I would take a Detective 27 over both of them, but I think I'll take the Mickey Mantle over the Action 1. I don't know. I hate this question. I love it. How about you?
Oh, Mickey Mantle. Yeah. I just don't care about Superman. Mickey Mantle, 100%. And I'm also a big Yankee fan, so that just works. But that was the thing. I collected baseball cards in my youth, and it's funny because I also collected comics, but because I was such a Marvel guy, that I didn't pay
Superman
any attention
is meaningless,
to the,
sure.
Yeah, it didn't mean anything to me. But Topps, definitely Mickey Mantle. There you go.
Stevie York, friend of the podcast, asks a simple, serious question. I think this is to me. Has the ghost of Greg Jein visited you yet this month? I think when I kind of cleaned up my condo and kind of really got put stuff in storage and you actually can walk around and there are less giant piles, the ghost of Greg Jein didn't enjoy my place as much. So he hasn't been there in a while. He was there previously when it was messier, but when it was more hoardery, but not lately. So
does he appear in the form of a haunted garbage bag just fluttering through your house?
With treasures inside. Jason White asks, prices for quality props seem to be going up every year. Do you see this trend continuing the next 5 or 10 years and beyond? Jason, unfortunately, yes. Yes, unfortunately, I do.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this in like the last episode. These last couple, the sort of the ruby slippers into rosebud, and God knows what happened with the lightsaber. I just think we're in a new world, a new economy, where I just think some of these real A+ pieces from like the A+ movies, we're just going to see bigger and bigger numbers, and it's dragging a lot of the market with it. But we are in a world now where $1 million as a number doesn't quite, unfortunately, seem like a big deal anymore. And that is I guess that's the problem. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. Do you disagree?
I don't. I'm curious though, because we've certainly hit this like peak apex of the things that you and I collect, and the people that are collecting them that are between your, sort of around your age to my age, maybe a little older than you to maybe a little younger than me. That sort of 15-year kind of run from maybe, 1960 birth date, 1965 to like sort of the mid 80s. But what happens when, I think 5 years, yes, on 10 years, I'm curious to see what happens, because we have seen the bit of the bend, the decline in 60s television, original series Trek.
We definitely have, and yet
stuff.
I am surprised.
But then Phaser sold for $1 million.
Yes, exactly. And a genie bottle. And I'm very curious about what happens with all those Batman costumes, because
that are coming. Right.
We're not at that point. We're not talking about, like just this is a piece of a bat belt or this or that. When all of a sudden presented with the ability of like, here is a full Batman costume, here's a full Joker costume, where a high-end collector can just go, oh, I want those in my screening room, in my garage, in my basement, in my whatever. I don't know. I don't see those going cheap. So I'm not. I just I think we're through the looking glass, people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I for sure think we are. I wonder, can it sustain at the at the acceleration on the curve of the parabola and whatever. Certainly it's going to go up. Certainly it's going to go up. Count on it. Invest on it. Whatever you want to do.
I just think when along with the numbers
How far
and the people,
how far and to what point is my question.
Yeah, although I just think when things like the ruby slippers, the lightsaber, whatnot are getting so much press, both before the auction and then again when they sell, I think it's doing two things. One, I think people are scouring their garages, and so more and more things that we can't believe we never saw are going to emerge. And that doesn't mean you're going to get an auction full of it, but I do think we are going to keep seeing in these individual auctions, like the one incredible crazy piece that, showed up because somebody, read about, whatever Rosebud selling or, something of that nature. So that's number one. And then number two, I just think the world is opening up where people with a lot of money are kind of going, oh, I can have the ruby slippers, I can have this, I can have that. And that especially with some of these pieces that are transcending the movie prop collecting and almost feel like a part of, I don't know, I keep wanting to call it Americana. I don't know if that's an auction category.
I think
but it just feels like we're into this other thing, which may never quite be Wolverine's claws, but maybe it will be. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell where the line is. So anyway,
yeah,
I think we're all in trouble.
Are there, I'm back on Action Comics.
Yeah.
Do you think there are more Action #1s or more Mickey Mantle rookie cards out there in the world?
I don't know. I'm sure there's in the inventories of the graded ones, you can find that out. Obviously, we don't know what the ungraded situation is, but I honestly don't know. It seems like it would be easier to hold on to a Mickey Mantle card just because it was smaller. You know what I mean? Like comic books required a little, like a bigger box, a bigger space maybe. So my gut would be, and also 52 is a lot more recent than 1930, whatever. Yeah. 8 or 9. Right. So I'm going to go with Mickey Mantles, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
If only there was some way of finding out.
Grok, tell me.
Grok, what is the best way to do a Nazi salute? Go on.
M3 Sweat asks, I've enjoyed your discussions on displays and presentation and am interested in your thoughts on conservation and restoration. I've seen some props come up for auction that have been fully restored. Recent examples with new paint, new internals, as on the recent Hero Communicator from the original series, or screen-accurate additions that we've seen on some blasters and costumes. What's your take on this? It's appropriate and regularly seen where paintings and sculptures are repaired, cleaned, replacement painting. I'm wondering how far to take such work. One example is the Stormtrooper helmet in the upcoming prop store auction. My approach is one of conservation, getting a prop to be stable and prepared for future generations and for full restoration with any changes or repairs that are documented and potentially removed as necessary. I mean, look, restoration, it's a spectrum, and I think everybody has their own comfort zone on it. I tend to look at this. I think original fine art is a great place to be. Those things can be cleaned and in some cases repaired, touched up, but they're never going and, if Da Vinci's canvas was somehow repainted over, they don't strip it back to the canvas and then repaint Da Vinci over it and call it a Da Vinci. So,
except with that one.
Well, that one, maybe that was a bad example. But with my Stormtrooper helmet, there was a bit of light restoration work done to it. The sort of green eye shield was missing from the inside, and the rubber brow strip had sort of rotted away. But other than that, the thing was pretty original, particularly the ears and the paint on it was original. I have a bunch of missing paint on mine, but the missing paint speaks to the originality of the paint that's there. I think these helmets that are completely stripped down and then fully repainted are just, they're not original to me.
Well,
they're just
can I
much less
interrupt? Because
interesting.
I know that's everyone's favorite part of the show.
It is. We're
When
coming right up at the end
right.
here too, so you
yeah,
gotta
I
get
gotta
it
get
in.
gotta get a couple in. Again, why were they stripped? Meaning, if you purchased a helmet that has been stripped, which has happened, and you're talking about painting it to get it back to where it was, I think I'm all for that. I don't think I would want to own a stripped helmet, but I'm not sure I would ever strip a helmet down and repaint it myself. Am I making sense? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't undo a helmet and repaint it, but I would repaint one that was not properly painted, that had already been stripped. I hope
Totally
that makes
fine.
sense.
But
Yeah.
also, if you bought the one that was stripped and had it repainted, I don't think, knowing you, that you would just sort of sit on your hands and never pursue another Stormtrooper helmet again.
No, that's probably.
It would
But
be
by
a
the way,
placeholder
I would
until
never
you
even
found
have.
some.
I probably would never have
You
bought
wouldn't
it.
buy
I'm
it.
not particularly interested in it, but I thought it came out great. I mean, I saw it on display at the Reagan Library, and I thought it looked really good. I mean, it was done as sympathetically as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It was not perhaps for me, but I did like it.
When you read sympathetic restoration, do you imagine the restorer, as I do, just sitting there going, "Oh"?
I think of Tom Spina crying.
I
think of it like the Pietà.
I
like
see your pain.
He's got the helmet resting in his lap, and he's wearing kind of a very like sort of a cloaky kind of a thing, and he's crying as he restores it.
That's good. Yeah. Yes. I just want you to know, Helmet, you are seen.
I do think it's, again, I'm looking at the other things he's talking about, like screen accurate additions. I've added things to things I have, but I haven't added them permanently. You know what I mean? Like, I've added them in a removable way. We've talked about on my Stormtrooper costume, my original one, I have replica pieces, but they're shaded gray. So you can enjoy what the full costume looks like, but it's very clear those are replica pieces. So things of that nature. I have tracked down in other auctions pieces that may not have been the one that broke off the other thing I have, but are 100% the piece. And I've put things back together a little bit, and I think it looks all the better for it. So, I think you have to find your own spot. I think the most important thing would be to document it all, and that certainly if you went to sell it or, and you were offering it to somebody, that you could 100% be able to sort of explain the work you did and make it very clear what someone is buying. As long as that truth is out there, I guess it's not really our position to kind of go, I know what I like and don't like, but I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. As long as you know what was done to the piece, I think then you can make your own decision. So I think
I mean, a great example I was trying to search for an example, because I also have my alien costume. Not everything is original on it. So I added replica pieces to make it complete, but all those things are easily removed and also labeled as replica. So I didn't think that's one place where that's a very similar example to David's Stormtrooper costume. One place where I go is my Hero Pulse Rifle, which, as you know, I stripped and then repainted a couple of years back. Now, once we found what I consider to be the original green brown
color
of the aliens, but mine had been restored, and I think restored to an incorrect color that was by a sociopath, actually. So I was happy to not only get the correct color on there, but also erase the evidence of the said sociopath from the history and the chain of that thing. And new information came to light, and it was a piece that was original but had been broken up into component parts and then put back together after the film by the armory that kept the piece and then put it on display. So I felt in that case that I would never have stripped that piece if it had been in some original condition to Alien 3. I would have just kept it in the Alien 3 configuration, but because it had already been stripped, I felt okay to go back in, strip it again, and put it to, we actually were able to color match it to a real prop, an untouched prop that we were not aware of 16 years ago when I bought it, that came to light. We looked at it. That's clearly the green brown, from that era. Maybe it's aged away a bit. We got a paint chip. We matched it, had it resprayed, and sure enough, in photos it looks incredible. And I also pried off the fake little counter window that was on the one, which never looked right, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I kind of realized, it's because somebody added it as a sort of cheaply made replica later down the line, so that it looked more like a pulse rifle. Again, not with no intent of fooling or defrauding anybody. It was just simply, it was on display at Bapti, the armorer, and somebody wanted to make it look clearly like a pulse rifle, so they had this little window made for it and just tacked it onto the shroud. So I just popped it off the shroud, resprayed it, stripped it, resprayed it, and it looks incredible, but did not touch anything else other than the shroud in that. And now I look at it as, even though it's not more original per se, it looks more original than it did, if that makes sense.
And I was going to say, as someone that has one of the painted black Alien 3 versions, of a pulse rifle, I guess I've thought about it, but at the end of the day, I just kind of left it because that's kind of how production ended up with it. But on a different hand, I've had original Trek costumes missing the symbol or missing braid, and in other auctions I've been able to buy original braid and original insignias and put them onto my costumes to make them more complete. Yeah. So again, I think maybe that's not what you're talking about, because nothing there is replica. I don't know. It's again, I think it's personal taste. I think it's definitely personal taste.
Here's another great example about something that may or may not have happened in the prop store auction. There was a grappling hook in there from a Batman spear gun that I very much wanted to and did bid on. I'm just not sure
maybe
whether
you won
it or
maybe
not.
You did.
Maybe I did. That I would like, because my spear gun from returns, this is a spear from returns, did not have a spear in it. Either it never did, or it had gone away in the sort of making of it, whatever, because however mine was used. But I've always wanted a spear to go in it. I did not want to build a replica one because I felt like that was a little meh. An original spear comes along. Great. I would love to. I mean, that is a major upgrade on that piece to be able to get that thing in there. So again, hopefully I won. I don't know if I did, but I sure bid on it. That was a piece where, like with your Star Trek braid, you're taking an original that's out there and reuniting it with an original thing and making the thing, I don't know, maybe not more original, but more whole in a way. In a totally acceptable way.
Right. If I guess in the world of paint, I guess if I bought something that had been improperly painted, like a crazy wrong color, like after the fact, meaning non-production related, someone painted it purple because they used it on a Halloween costume, I guess the first thing I would do would be to try and see if the purple could be lifted off and if the original paint was under it. And if that was not the case, I would then consider, if it's supposed to be black, stripping the purple off and making it black the way it should be, because I know it shouldn't be purple. And I don't know if that answers the question, but I guess that's how I would think about it. But again, the main point would be that if and then I went to sell the piece, I would let them know that it was purchased originally, had been painted purple for a Halloween costume, and that I had stripped the paint and painted it back to the original black. And so they would know what they were getting. And here's the auction showing it in its original purple form. Again, that's a very generic, bad version of things. But I guess that's where I would start thinking about paint. I don't think I would ever take something, even if the paint was really beaten up, but it was the original proper paint. I would never just specifically go, oh, let's just add, let's paint it to make it look new or good. But by the way, some people do that. I hate that. So I guess, by the way, let's go back to, it bothered me very much that Sir Anthony Daniels, I guess he's not a Sir, Anthony Daniels, he's a Sir to us, that he replated that C-3PO helmet, the Star Wars C-3PO helmet. I don't, if I didn't have one in my collection, I don't know if it would have stopped me. It probably would have. I think I would have gone for the second unplated one. So that's an example where it did kind of bother me. So again, it's all personal choice, and that's the guy from Star Wars doing it himself. So a lot of wiggle room here. I don't know. I think it's a personal choice. But luckily, we're out of time. That's a tight hour 34. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great questions,
everybody.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. See,
Yeah.
it's fun to do that little catch up. We will certainly return next week with another brand new episode. In the meantime, send us more questions, follow-ups, et cetera, to @Props Podcast on all social media channels. Follow us on YouTube, rate us, subscribe to us.
Subscribe, tell your friends something. I don't know.
Please write dreams are made of podcasts at gmail.com to the email, and just generally keep being yourselves. That's what we want.
And allow me to say a hail and hearty, how dare you?
What's the Passover one?
Dayenu.
Dayenu.